You betcha. Now it's my honored privilege to introduce you to a lady from my home state of Louisiana, from Rain, Louisiana, Miss Cherri Foytlin. Cherri Foytlin.
Go, Cherri! Tell 'em, girl!
Most of you know my story by now. 4 years ago, back when the banks got bailed out and the people were getting bailed on, I lost the first house I ever owned. After moving to South Louisiana and rebuilding our lives, my husband and I were able to move ourselves and our 6 children into a beautiful new home. And 3 days later, the moratorium hit. And I say hit because it was like a punch in the stomach to the people of our area. The story never told about South Louisiana is that the fishermen, crabbers, oystermen, and oil workers are the same. Many of our fishermen work the season doing what they love and then go back to the oil fields to make a living. All of us live to serve and be served from the Gulf of Mexico. You won't find an oil worker that doesn't love the bayou. And you won't find a fisherman that doesn't profit from the oil field. Sadly, this bill and consequential moratorium has effectively marched us headlong into a deep depression in the Deep South. 7 weeks ago, after speaking with the Oil Spill Commission, I reached out to President Obama in a CNN interview. And I asked him to come and speak with me and meet my friends about the devastating effect of the spill. I wanted to tell him about the illnesses that we were experiencing, about the devastating debt that was accumulating, and the environmental and cultural genocide of our people and wildlife. But I was ignored. This deeply saddened me because based on the very mindset of the Founding Fathers, I and my family are worth no less or no more than any other. And I, as an American citizen, have a right and an obligation to call out and be heard by the representatives of my nation. As Edward Bellamy said, the primal principle of democracy is the worth and dignity of the individual. My call to the President was more of a test of the democracy and the Republic than of the man. Since that day, BP, at the urgency of the administration, has set up a fund of $100 million to help those hurting from the moratorium. It has been over 4 months and the application process for that fund has just begun. You see, that is the big lie sold to the American public, that BP is taking care of us, that they are making it right, that we are receiving checks and that we are okay. And yet, not one oil worker has received $1 since the moratorium began. Last week, I made a decision whether I should buy Tylenol for my fevery baby or food for his brothers and sisters. The reality is 23,000 American oil workers are jobless. And this fund, administered by the Gulf Restoration and Project Foundation, created by the Baton Rouge Area Foundation, will only cover by their own admission 9,000 people. Service workers most likely will not be paid in all. And if you don't know anything about the oil industry, only a small portion of people work on the oil rig, but each rig is supported by thousands of more jobs, both on the rig and on land. This charity organization, BRAF, gave $4 million in the years 2005 and 2008 to the top lobbying firm Cassidy and Associates, and it pays its leader $440,000 a year, according to the tax records. British Petroleum will give BRAF $6.5 million out of that $100 million for administrative costs for the 60 days that they are in operation. In those 60 days, they are set to pay one-time grants between $3,000 to $30,000 in taxable funds. And by the time this moratorium is set to end, my family will have lost $45,000 and possibly the home that we worked so hard to get. And even then, with the new regulations and environmental concerns, that, had we an honest oversight to begin with, would have happened a long time ago, will move the actual date of continuance back to an unknown time. Also, no funds will be paid unless we're able to show that we are in dire need. That means if you have a 401k, if you have a savings that you've been putting back for your entire life, you are forced to use that to survive this. The federal government and BP are raping us of our future. And it doesn't end there. On April 20th, we lost 11 brave men. 19 children are without fathers, 22 parents are without sons, and 6 wives are without husbands. A decision enacted by BP and enforced by silence of the American government states that those 11 families are not in any way able to make a claim on one dime of that $20 billion BP fund. And thanks to the Maritime Law, the Death on the High Seas Act, that states essentially the value of a man's life at sea is worth less than his life on land, those women, those mourning women, will fight in court for their family's future. A bill that is stated out in Senate could change that, but as I speak today, it has not passed, and we do not have knowledge of when or if it will. As I see it, we need to diversify our economy. We welcome clean energy jobs. We welcome any job. We are no welfare state. We learned a long time ago that when you are dependent on either a corporation or a government, that entity owns you. The truth is, we as a nation and a people have lost our way. We cannot rightly blame this on a single corporation or even on the government itself. It's our failure. As a people, we have let less important issues divide us. We have taken our eye off the ball and let ourselves be led to ruin. The future of mankind lies squarely on the shoulders of every single person. If we as a people and a nation do not stand together for our earth and our freedom, then we will surely fall and consequently fail our future generations. This is not a Democrat versus Republican issue. This is not an environmentalist versus economist issue. This is an American issue. This is a people of the earth issue. We have not been living right on this earth for a very long time. For instance, we use 20 billion barrels of oil a day. We are addicted, and just like the heroin addict, that pusher owns us. The truth is, if there weren't such an overwhelming demand for it, no one would have to kill or be killed to supply it. I've called out the American president, and I've asked for his mind and heart and hand and compassion for the people of the Gulf, and I have failed. So today, on this day, I turn from that futile attempt. Too much time has been given in the name of governmental justice for an open wound of our grieving hearts. Today, I call out to my people, to my American brothers and sisters. Kind hearts, our children and wildlife are being poisoned by British Petroleum and the American government. There is still millions of gallons of oil all along our coastlines. And now their poison is in our water to the point where we are forced to question the validity of the safe seafood claim. We have been let down. We have been sold out by the EPA, the FDA, the NOAA, and there ain't no damn way. Our stomachs are empty, and our hearts are filled with sorrow. We have no options, and your people need you. I call out to you, the veterans of World War II, Vietnam, Korea, the Gulf Wars, everything you fought for, everything your brothers and sisters in arms lost their lives for is being taken from us. To you, those that raised the flag at Iwo Jima, those that walked the rice fields in Vietnam, those that suffered the cold winds in Korea, those that were and are blistered by the sands in Iraq and Afghanistan, those that stood while their brothers fell, all in the name of freedom. And to you, the sovereign Indian nations, the Sioux, the Cherokee, the Kiowa, the Coeur d'Alene, the Dene, the Apache, those with the same blood of Tecumseh and Red Jacket and Sitting Bull and Osceola and Geronimo, our cousins to whom have been building berms with shovels to protect their sacred lands. I call upon you because the time is now. I call upon the Appalachian coal miners, the Michigan auto workers, the California winemakers, the Midwestern farmers, the factory workers, the waitresses, the cab drivers, the working public. How much will we all as a people be asked to lose? We have built this nation by our sweat, and we have built this nation by our calluses, and the majority of the blood in the earth belongs to us. The buildings, the monuments, the mountains, the rivers, the sea, they belong to us. They belong to our children. I call upon the celebrities with the social conscience. I have seen you. You found a way to be more than a snapshot and an autograph. I call out to Spike Lee. The story's not finished yet, my friend. To Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, Bill Cosby, will.i.am, Tom Petty, Sherman Alexie, and Maya Angelou. You are more than your talent. You have proven that, and we need you. We need your compassion, and we need your voice. I call out to any politician, state or federal, who has not yet been bought or sold. I would call you by name, but frankly, I don't know who you are. Introduce yourself if you're real and we will check. We will follow you. I call out to the mothers and fathers, the grandmothers and grandfathers, the future of our children. Depend on us taking the fight off of their hands. They should not pay for our greed. They should not spill their blood for the ideals that we have lost. Do not tell me we can't, because I will tell you to stand aside. I will tell you that we will. This September 11th, 1 week from today, 9/11 first responders, Exxon Valdez, Katrina, Rita, and Gulf oil spill survivors will meet in New Orleans. This is the beginning of a new conversation. This is the beginning of a new day, one which we will no longer wait for a phone call or a hand up. We will build our own bridges. We will protect our own people, and we will take back our own earth. We will sow love. Our mission is to honor those that gave their lives to protect us. To the fishermen, the beach workers who continue to put their health at risk cleaning the spill, to those who make a living in the Gulf and across the nation who have seen their livelihood stolen from them without as much as an option for a better day. More importantly, we will honor those who have given their lives in our name, specifically those of the Exxon Valdez catastrophe, the heroes of 9/11, and the 11 men of the Deepwater Horizon. I invite you, my American brothers and sisters, to a twilight prayer in Jackson Square to honor them. This event will be followed by the benefit concert in Tipitinas in the French Quarter to raise funds to help the fishermen, the crabbers, the shrimpers, the oil workers, the environment, the wildlife, and the way of life in the Gulf of Mexico. Together we will make a statement that we will no longer let our people, not any single one, across this great nation, fall to a backwards and lost democracy. We are not for sale. We will not be victims, and we will no longer let the greed of the few decide the destiny of the many. America, can you hear me?